Welcome, everybody. My name is Lou. Welcome back to what some people are calling episode 16 of Brits and Yanks Talk Trek, a podcast for Trekkies, Trekkers, and absolutely everything in between. Brought together as a group of friends from both sides of the pond, with an obsession about a little game called Star Trek Fleet Command. But as we know, this is not a podcast all about STFC, but this is obviously about Star Trek. We're going to talk about the cultural differences between the Brits and the Yanks as we dive in there as a group of friends. Please, please, please remember to share this out with your friends. Let everybody know, obviously, that you're listening to the podcast. Give us some feedback and give us some show topics, things that you want us to talk about on future shows. That would be absolutely amazing if you would do that for us. Remember, you can obviously choose to leave us a review if you like the podcast. We're starting to get some reviews through now, which is great. So everybody that's done that, thank you so much. Leave us some comments on them. That is absolutely amazing as well. Who have we got with us tonight? Obviously, I'm here. We know that. We've got Mr. Perfection himself. We've got Silvers. How are you, my friend?
It's a great day here in Kansas.
Snowing?
Almost.
Does it snow there?
It should be, actually, if it gets cold enough.
All I can think about is like tornadoes and dogs flying about in them and going to wars and stuff like that. That's all I can ever think of when I think of Kansas.
And that's super accurate.
Yeah. We've got the storyteller himself. We've got Stewie. How are you, buddy?
Amazing.
Excited? Rip raring?
So
ready to go?
Yeah, words fail me.
Well, do you know what? I can imagine. I can totally get that. We've got the king of the graphic himself, Candy. How are you, mate? Well done. Are you home now? How fast did you go to get home?
I mean, thankfully I didn't have to break any speeding limits or manage to get all the. Well, actually, no, I didn't actually have to break the speed limit at all. Like everything was just working out. Like traffic wasn't in the way. All the lights turned green in a timely fashion. So I only had to yell at one person that was going slow in front of me. So,
well, what do you mean you're not going 5 miles and over?
Technically, where I'm at, like you don't get pulled over till you're like going at least 15 over. So.
Christ almighty.
There you go.
It's like the Wild West over there. It's like the Wild West over there. And to be fair, next time, please do speed so we can start a little bit earlier. That'd be lovely. I don't care if you get caught. I'll pay your ticket for you. We've got the professor. We've got Puts. How are you, buddy? How are things where you are?
Well, let me tell you, I am 8 working days from being done for the semester and a exact fortnight from being on a beach. I'm doing great.
Where are you going?
I'm going to the Caribbean.
Oh, it sounds lovely. Do you mean the Caribbean? That sounds absolutely superb. Fantastic. And we've also got, I've come up with a nickname for you. You're going to love this. We've got the Straddler with us today. Do you get it? We've got Finger Licking Good. We've got KFC. We've got KKC with us. Do you get why I'm calling you the Straddler? Do you get it?
I do. I'm straddling both sides.
Exactly. I thought that was really good. I was quite proud of myself. I came up with that while I was in the car. I thought I need a good nickname for her. Calling her Finger Licking Good and KFC for KKC because that's what it reminds me of. I thought that's not very good, so I'm going to stick with the Straddler.
You really should run these names by us first.
Yeah, I think so too.
I cringed a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, hold up here.
No.
Context and phrasing.
Is it too late to start over?
It absolutely is because I need to go to bed in 9 minutes. So we've got 9 minutes to get through all the topics, which should be absolutely superb. No, but welcome, KKC. Thank you so much for popping back. What's made you want to come back to Brits and Yanks?
Wow, it's really good topics this week, and I had a great time last time, and it's a lot of fun.
It is. We absolutely love your input, so thank you so much for coming and joining the panel. So we are going to dive in, as we normally do. We're going to start off with our STFC topic, and we're going to be talking about bottlenecks, so things that sort of hold you back, things that make you that stop your progression, or things that mean that you can't progress as fast as what you physically want to. And we're going to start sort of at the lower end of the ops range, and we'll work our way up, obviously up the ops to try and make it a little bit better. So just as context, just remember to remind yourselves or remind everybody that's listening of your ops level, just so we can get a feel for where those bottlenecks are. So we'll start off with you, KKC. Obviously, guests always go first. It's always a lovely way. Throw you straight in at the deep end. Talk to us about bottlenecks in your game. Remind us what ops level you are, and what is it that you think that you struggle with from a currency perspective.
Okay, so I've recently gone up to Ops 38, and I have Ops 39 in the oven. So
wow, that's a big one as well, isn't it? 38 to 39 is a biggie.
Yeah. I went 35-38 during the spend event. the last event, which went very well for me. And then I've just been slowly working on 39 since then. And yeah, we've got like 40 something days left on that.
Wow.
So my big one has been uncommon ore for sure. Because like all the buildings needed it. And then all the research I haven't done needed it. So I found that was actually, of the three, my bottleneck for the minute. And then I've been working on ships, so I'm running out of ship parts.
God.
I had a good amount of platinum saved up, so that isn't my bottleneck yet.
No, and I suppose anybody that's been in the game a while that's moved away from G3, the benefit of G3 is that it doesn't have rarities of ship parts, does it? It literally just has ship parts which are all convertible with Latinum, so they're all the common versions, aren't they? And again, just to reiterate, obviously saying that ore is a problem. When you're doing a big ops blast, when you're doing a big buildings blast, the primary material that's used for buildings is ore. Obviously, then ships is technically crystal. I know that's ships is crystal, and then research is gas. That's how it was always figured out, wasn't it? That it was in those sort of components and the way it works. So when you do a blitz, you do go on.
The shipyard is crystal. If you're talking about ops, the operations would be, or R&D would be gas, and shipyard is crystal. The actual ships themselves, they each have their own primary material based on their type.
They do, but I'm saying that back in early days, it was always supposed to be heavy buildings. Gas was supposed to be for researches. More researchers in the early days used gas. More buildings used ore, and then more ships used crystal. Obviously, because you had surveys and interceptors, obviously in early game. So that was sort of how it was all teetered up. So especially when you're going up towards 40, you do find that if you're working on ships a lot, you tend to run out of crystal. If you're working on buildings a lot, you run out of ore. And if you're working on research a lot, you run out of gas just because of the way that they're aligned. I'm getting that right. Stewie, that's probably sounds about right from early days.
Absolutely. Yeah, crystal was a pain in the there in the other place.
Hang on, I've got a button for that. Hang on, try again. A pain in the start again.
Pain in the because for the very reasons you said, you were trying to build up a good fleet of survey ships, and at the lower levels, you seem to lean towards the interceptors as well. You got your Saladin that a lot of people were going for, Vidar, Talios, etc. And it was an absolute chewing up the crystal all the way. But it does shift to the method that Silvers is saying. It then becomes more ship and faction specific as to which one you're going to get and what the secondary one is as well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't level out.
Definitely. And obviously a really big thing that they started doing in G4, was it G4 that they started? Is it the G4 miners? They use their faction specific materials as well, don't they?
Yep, it's the G4s.
Yeah, so all the G3s were crystal main, gas as secondary. But then when you get to G4, if it was a Romulan one, it was all heavy. If it was a Klingon one, it was crystal heavy. If it was a Federation one, it was gas heavy. So obviously that sort of teetered across and removed the bottleneck that was crystal a little bit from the game, didn't it, for ships?
Well, the crystal one was still there, just added more on top as well. So you were getting bottlenecked on everything.
Very true. Very, very true. So I totally get that. So your bottleneck's being ore because you've been doing a big ops push. And I totally get that. And ship parts, because obviously it's Latinum as well, isn't it? I mean, where do you get your Latinum sourcing from? Obviously at 38, your sourcing will be different to us in the 40s, in the 50s, in the 60s. I mean, do you know roughly how much Latinum that you get a day? Do you know roughly where do you get it from? Have you been working on your Fisher and things like that?
I have been working on my Fisher, although I will say that's probably another bottleneck. That's very slow. I feel like my main bulk of my Latinum, because I think I still have like 800k, was I opened a free treasury after buying the builder, the second builder, so like 5 quid. So I was like, perfect. And then I got like 1 million something Latinum in that treasury. I was like, oh, okay, that was very nice.
Wow.
And I've just been like kind of using that slowly.
Do you know, I remember when PAX, and again, I keep feel like I'm going back in time. Obviously, we are at the 6-year anniversary point now of recording this of the game. I remember when PAX used to have like 60, 70,000, didn't they? Used to have like 60, 70,000 Latinum in it, and we used to think that was a decent amount. And now you're getting an Ops 38, 39, getting 1 million in a pack. That just wasn't a thing. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a really good little boost to the economy that they've done there. So that's superb. Right, moving on. Candy, remind us of your ops level. Have you made any progression since we last spoke? And let us know what you're finding to be your bottlenecks.
I am now ops 49. working diligently on getting ready for 50 when it presents itself. Just kind of grinding through all the buildings necessary to get to that point, and then once I'm done with that, work get caught up on research, and then make the jump to 50. My big bottleneck right now is ship parts. Starting to get into the areas where I'm needing a lot more and more rare G4 parts, and thankfully the events the events provide plenty of material, like plenty of resources, but not enough ship parts. So that's been my crux right now, is trying to hoard as much of those as I can, or if a treasury comes up and unfortunately I spent my the unlock staff or whatever on the last one, so I got a fair amount of parts out of that one. But yeah, like ship parts is just my big hold up.
So where are you? So are you finding that it's rare ship parts, or are you finding that it's uncommons? Are you finding it's both, or is it mainly the rares that you're struggling with now up in the top echelons of the 40s?
Pop up from time to time where I have issues getting sourcing for that, but it's all the varieties of, like, I'm not sure if I ever, no, don't really get them in events, but for somehow I always manage to accumulate uncommon parts a lot faster now than I did when I was even at 48. But rare parts are my big push right now.
They are tough. I mean, Puts, as obviously somebody in a similar sort of area, tell us some places where you can maybe go look to source. Do some teaching on us for where we could possibly get some G4 ship parts, rare and uncommons mainly.
So for me, you've got the Bajoran faction with your pulls there. You have the Eviscerator. That actually, once you get it up to, I think it's like tier 6 or tier 5, I can't remember, but then you actually start getting rare parts in there, and that is probably the best reliable source. It's small. I mean, it's relatively small. It's like 150 or something like that a day of each if you're pulling all of those. But I mean, it adds up.
Yeah, it does.
X-Borg. I mean, ship parts they seem to be nickel and diming the ship parts in several different places. You caught me off guard. I would have to be like, okay, I have to remember where all of them are.
Voyager.
Voyager.
Voyager. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. X-Borg. I pull that at a double pull each time for the one that has ship parts and stuff in it. So yeah.
Definitely. I mean, for me, the most reliable source of rare ship parts, especially for G4, is the Eviscerator. Obviously, the Eviscerator is grindable. Silvers, give us the path. How do you grind out the Eviscerator? What do you have to do to actually get that ship?
There is a weekly event on Thursdays where you have to go and kill Gorn ships, which requires that you crew up with isolatic damage officers. And each week is 14 blueprints from that event, so it'll take you about 12 weeks.
Which isn't awful bad, is it? It's not awful bad for that sourcing, but if anybody's struggling with rare parts, that's not engaged in that event on a Thursday to start getting those blueprints, you really should do that. I mean, mine's currently sat at tier 6, my Eviscerator, and my Eviscerator is paying me 300 per day of the ships that I choose, and I am holding off actually taking my Eviscerator to tier 7, because as a G6 player, I will lose G4 parts, because that parts refinery, again, just do some final little bit of teaching on it. If you are in G6, so if you are 661 plus, once you hit tier 7, your G4 parts will be removed and you will only have G5 and G6 parts. If you are sub 661, so 60 and below, at tier 7, you will then start to get G5 parts and maintain G4 parts. So just an interesting little thing for people that are probably approaching, if they've played at a similar sort of pace to me. I've had it since day 1. And you get into that sort of stage. If G4 parts are still something that you want, I'm still working on maxing my Pylum and my Tribune. Don't know why, I just want to do it, and that's one of the reasons why I've not progressed my Eviscerator any further than what it is. But yeah, ship parts, huge, a little bit of teaching there, and obviously where you can start acquiring those sorts of things. Silvers, What are you finding to be one of your bottlenecks?
So still ops 50 for those that know me. Rare parts and rare materials are my main bottlenecks. Mostly rare materials.
Is that because you're trying to push buildings and buildings are requiring more and more of these?
That's more ships.
Right, okay.
I push my ships up very high.
I was just about to say that. So
I need rare ore, rare gas, and then rare ship parts.
Yeah, and a big caveat is obviously, I mean, Silver's has always progressed your ships to good tiers, haven't you? You've always made your ships really decent. I'm one of those that I'll take a ship to where it does what I need it to do, and then I'll start to move on again, which is probably why I'm a higher ops level than Silver's. But it's what Silver's likes to make himself really, really good in terms of his ships at his own level, which, I mean, I don't think there's a play style that's wrong, is there? I think it's just obviously different ways of what you want. I value progression. You value power within your current ops level. There's no right or wrong, is there?
Yeah, tier 9 Valdor, tier 10 Pylum, tier 10 Newton, tier 10 or tier 9 Enterprise A.
Yeah, I mean, and you'll beast.
I push them.
You beast your ops level, don't you, for things if you needed to. You'll be able to grind forever with those, with the stuff you need to kill.
I definitely agree with Silvis. I actually maybe take it a little bit further. My Pylum is T11, and my Tribby is T10. So and that was before I moved up to. I did 50 to 51, 50 to 52 in 25 minutes.
You didn't let me ask the question. It's been an ongoing joke where I can say, are you 51 yet? And you can go, no, I've got 51. Are you 52 yet? You can go, yes. Congratulations, Putz. Welcome to G5. What are your initial impressions?
Here is something that I don't think that, or at least when it probably came out, there is content on it, but I haven't seen any real content on all of the new intricacies that pop up with going into G5, with the new claims in your faction store for intelligence of some sort that you earn through an event, multiple events a week. I didn't even know. I was like, oh, new event. What is this? Oh, okay. Okay, where does this go? Oh yeah, that's the whole warp, conduits.
Super highways.
Yeah, the super highways and whatnot.
In fairness,
and
I did a video on that. On that.
You did a video. Yeah. But yeah, when did you do the video? Like a year ago?
Year, 18 months ago, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just, there's a lot more people, getting into this situation now. They're like, maybe I wouldn't say redo the video, but maybe like republish the video, reference it back.
Yeah, it's good chat. Good chat, especially because more and more people are getting there. The average ops level is moving up. I mean, just going back to you, Silvers. Congratulations, Puts, by the way. Congratulations, buddy. But just going back to you, Silvers. So you're saying that obviously rare materials are a bit of a bottleneck for you. Do you do anything different? Do you try and maximize your pulls from your refinery? Do you mine more than what maybe you would have done if you didn't need to pull? Do you try and push to try and get that extra chest out your refinery? Are you pulling the Bajoran stuff every day? What is it that you're doing to try and combat your bottleneck of rare materials?
I mean, I pull the Bajoran chests every day, and that's decent. I don't do any more mining than I have to, and I don't mine G4 unless I have to in token spaces. Just I'll pull the middle chest on everything. I don't really do the bonus refineries, so I don't do a lot to try to fight it. I just understand that it's something that I come across, have been for the past several months. Of just I will start a spending spree and I'll run out of something, and it's usually rare materials that I run out of first.
Yeah, and I think I just want to throw two big caveats in here, and I think the first one is working on your Xborg favors. Your Xborg favors to increase your refinery output. Those refinery output Xborg favors are the Xborg.
Bajoran.
Sorry, Bajoran favors. Your Bajoran favors that increase your output of your refinery. They're massive, aren't they? But what they do in
Where's
turn,
my ding?
You what? Sorry.
Where's my ding?
Oh God. But what they do is they also make the bonus refinery at G4 level and even G5 level useless. Do you know what I mean? What you pull out of the bonus refinery is just, it's not worth the squeeze, is it, for what you're going to be getting from your standard refinery? It's not worth the extra mining effort that it takes to actually go and do it, is it?
Yeah, I don't put in the effort.
No. And the second one that I really wanted to mention was Syndicate. Obviously, Syndicate, there are across lots and lots where you can increase your loyalty chest rewards. There are loads that increase the gas, crystal, and ore payouts from those in your 7 and 30-day chest. So remember, before you pull your 7 and 30-day chests, have a look and say, when's my next bump up where I'm going to get even more from those chests? And if it's only maybe one level away and you know that it's only going to take you 2 or 3 weeks to get there, because people are plowing through Syndicate a lot quicker than what they were before, hoard them for maybe another couple of weeks and get a little bit more out of it that way. Do you know what I mean? Just try and really make the most of everything that's thrown in game for you. Try and be a bit strategic, because rare materials, I'll tell you this as a G6 player, Stewie will tell you it as a G5 player, they don't get any easier, do they, Stewie?
No, they're the definitive blocker, really, for basically anything above G3.
Indeed, they absolutely are. They're so tough, so tough. And I do think though that things have been made a little bit better with efficiencies as well. Obviously, efficiencies have been flying into the game left, right, and centre. And building specifically the independent archives, obviously that was launched in November 2024. It was launched this month. The efficiencies that are from that and the free to play progression on that building has been pretty substantial on it. So obviously they're going to help with bottlenecks of materials and things, but obviously that's only for buildings. No, excellent, brilliant. Puts, over to you, our G5 cohort member. Welcome to G5. Tell us what you're finding to be your bottleneck as an early G5 player. I think this will be really good.
So, man, I am literally like 3 days in. And I don't know what my bottlenecks are going to be yet. I mean, for me, for the first 3 days, like I ran out of G5 common stuff, so and I didn't want to spend the lat. So maybe in retrospect, I might have wanted to try to get more G5 common before I went, and maybe concentrated on that a little bit. But to be honest with you, man, ask me in 2 weeks.
Yes,
You know,
when you're fresh into any new generation, it can be relatively daunting, can't it? Do you know what I mean? Things change, like you said, new events pop. All your events, you've gone from being able to, like in the 30s, you can go and do things like what was that event? Like Crucible of War, you could go and kill one heavy trader and finish your Crucible of War milestones. You've gone into the 50s or the 40s. Parabellum, all those sort of things. I meant the Crucible of War milestone. I think in the 30s, I think one heavy trader does it. It was
one heavy trader would have done it.
Yeah, it was just mad. It was just madness what you could do with it. Killing a 49 as an Ops 38 or 39 or whatever it was made that so much better. You move into the 40s and you've then got to go and kill 30 hostiles to do the same milestone. Adapting to that, and I've seen people and I've sort of helped people go into the G6 region even in the last few weeks. And
now the one,
go on.
The two areas that I did prepare for, and I was actually, actively preparing, was Silent Hostels and the Zindi Aquatic. I made sure that I had, with the Zindi Aquatic, I boosted up my reserves on all of that to, lots, like months and months and months of pools, so that I, like, no matter what it jumped to, I was going to be ready. The other was Silent Hostels, and probably for the past 3 months, I have been doing every time I needed to go get stuff for my current pull, I would spend 1 token, I would go into the system, and at this point in time, I'm killing all the hostels at will, and I go home when my cargo's full, right? So I do that, and then I'll turn around and go back, and I went into the G5 space there, and did a run for as much as I could, and so when I jumped, I had 20 pulls of that in stock when I jumped. So
wow.
yeah, like that really helped.
Yeah, no, it is. It's significant, and prior preparation and planning prevents a piss poor performance. So I mean, all those P's, planning for things, especially those generational jumps, and obviously all the charts and things that are available on our Discord. Link to that is down in the description of the podcast. Obviously, get on there, get your head in the charts. If you want to plan, want to be prepared, there's no better way to do it than with the charts and stuff that tell you what every single refinery pull costs you. You can sit and start getting ready for these things. But silence are a good one because obviously you migrate, don't you, when the loot becomes useless from the previous generation. So knowing when those levels change is a big one. No, totally agree. Brilliant. Stew Pot, so as a high 50s now, obviously bordering now on the 59 to 660 ladder, what are you finding that is the bane of your life to be able to progress up into 60?
That's something totally different to everyone else, but I've noticed throughout the climb in general that almost everything has been a bottleneck at some point, be it parts, be it mats, be it latinum, speed ups, things like that. They've all been bottlenecks to some degree, or if not bottlenecks, at least time constraints because you have to wait instead of being able to speed up, or you don't have the latinum to do, things like that. So I don't. I think anything can be a bottleneck depending on what you're currently trying to achieve, and that changes as you go up. Because as you're going up to the next level, you may find that what you actually need is more warp range. In which case, you need to upgrade your ship, okay, or you need a whole new ship, okay, or it could be something that you need to have certain buildings at a certain level before you go up. So then that's your constraint. So it definitely changes throughout. It's very fluid. For me at the moment, I'm not worried about going up to the next level as such. My constraint is the events. I'm always waiting for a spend event, and when you
Yeah.
get a month like the one we've just had, where we had
On
one what I would call one valid spend event,
an
that's
SMS.
me out.
An SMS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
an SMS, and that's me out for 4 weeks.
Because you have got a similar mindset to me. I mean, like the current spend event that's on now for pick hue shards and things like that, and a bit of Syndicate XP, and I can't remember who the other officer is in that event at the moment. I don't engage in spend events in between the arcs. I just don't
Really,
do it, and I so rarely do it because I'm always going to want what's coming next month. I've got this thing in my mind that I want to push for the newer officers. I want to try and at least try and get them unlocked. It's always a goal of mine during the arc launch of the month. And you're of a similar ilk, aren't you? So you're obviously being restricted by events. You're not actually being restricted by what you can spend.
absolutely. And to be honest, I took a gamble this time because I normally punt for straddling the two.
Phrasing.
Sorry about that, Casey. Um, Speaking, I usually straddle the two SMSs in week one, week two. Okay, we didn't get told what was happening,
No.
and players may not know. We're not always told about what the events are coming for, because they like to keep some of the surprises for us as well as CCs. They don't tell us everything, and I thought that things might get flipped a bit. So I actually went a lot harder than I normally would on the first one, and I managed to get the unlock off the first one by doing the SMS and then ranking just high enough to get it, and then with the rest that came in the BP, and I'm glad I did. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the officer.
No,
You know,
absolutely.
and I'm worried that that might be the same next month. And if it is, I want to be prepared for it. So what I'm doing is I'm not going into these SMSs because that pick you one I might have gone for because of the other purple haired woman that's in there as well, the Hugh wannabe.
Actually, no, it's really bad. I can't even. Who's the other officer in the event?
Begins with an M. Begins with an
I don't.
M. Matt.
That's exactly how I would have described, like the purple red haired woman who is a Hugh wannabe. That's exactly the description I give.
But for
It's a
clarity,
weird
it's
name, isn't it?
Masriad Viel.
Her.
Yeah,
Because she's actually, I like her. I rate her. I actually like her. I like the
she's
idea of
Armada
her.
Hugh, isn't she? She's Armada Hugh.
Exactly. And she's got a place on my ship. So and because of that, because the sourcing might not be great yet, and also I'm really into this whole repair
Yeah, it's getting
ethos
big,
of
isn't it?
ship repairing, but it's getting really good. And even though we've got a very good sourcing path for Pick Hugh, I think that boosting him up a little bit, getting him a little bit quicker would be quite good. But I don't think it's enough for me to want to risk committing now and then finding myself short in whatever's
In
coming
December,
next month.
yeah, in
Yeah,
December. No, I agree. And I just I think you made a really good point to say that obviously your bottleneck changes over time. And I think especially I found it more in G5. That's where I found it the most. I think your ship selection can also really affect your bottlenecks. So like, for example, if you go for, let's say you go for the Sanctus at 56, it's crystal heavy. So then you find that when you're wanting to push up from 59 to 16, you need all that crystal for your dry docks. You find that crystal's a bit of a problem because you've ploughed that much into your ships. And obviously, your ship selection can make a difference.
exactly.
So I suppose that's going to be very, very dependent on which ships you decide to choose and where you spend it. I mean, Stewie also mentioned that he regrets every single piece of uncommon ore that he put into his Vulture because he found out that he just didn't need it. Just didn't need it on the push to 56. Your Talios carried you from all the way through the early 50s up to your Sanctus at 56, and you regret all that you paid, that you actually paid in.
Exactly, and because I didn't plan as well as Putz, okay, I actually had about 3 or 4 weeks of not being able to hit the silence because I just couldn't do them.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything that was capable of killing them. I needed the Sanctus to do it, and I
Yeah.
couldn't do the Sanctus because I didn't have the shipyard, and the shipyard needed the ore, which I'd spent on the bloody Vulture.
Exactly. Yeah. Or
I
just
hate that
some sort
ship
of
so
prereq to be able
much.
to get through it. Yeah. I had guessed that. I had twigged that.
Every time I see it, and unfortunately, it's right at the top of the ship, near the top of the ship carousel. So every time I change ships, I see it, and it sits there, and I just feel like it's putting its middle finger up to me every single time. I don't get it.
And you can't even scrap it. You can't even think,
No.
oh, in a couple of levels I can scrap it. You can't even get to that
Oh,
point.
you know I won't
Yeah.
anyway, so which is even worse.
No, you won't scrap it now.
So I have a question.
Shoot.
I have a question, and it's just Stewie made me think about this. Okay, the NSA protector.
Mhm.
It is not ops locked to the point where I had seen and have seen ops 50, meaning a G4 player with a 800 million power NSA protector.
Very
Right?
possible.
Very possible. So could it be that the NSA protector could, if you just said, I'm going to do that, and so you don't have to worry about mats for other ships, could you skip not only the uncommon, but maybe even the rare in G5?
I mean, that's post me and Stewie going there, isn't it? Obviously, I mean, me and you were both there before the Protector came out. And do you know what? I mean, mine's over 300 million and it's only at tier 8. And obviously, you can get it a lot higher than that, even well before. Obviously, you get up to my ops range. And do you know what? I think that could be a thing. I think that genuinely could be a thing that you could do.
It's
Thinking about
definitely.
it,
It's not got the stopping power of a 56
No.
at the moment. Could it have? Yes, but it's also unless you're buying packs, I think you're not going to get there quickly because I don't think you can take it up. There's no like fast way of doing it. Is there that I can think of?
It's very. I mean, your only sources for beryllium spheres are from the daily drip, and then when the Saris invasion event runs.
Invasion. That's it. Yeah. That's what. Yeah. So
I
it's
have
not a quick.
Go on,
I
Putz.
have enough. I have enough spheres right now to take mine to complete all of T5 and be ready to jump into T6 area on that ship. So it's, and I did all that free play, so it's not too far away,
But it does slow down. It does slow down.
Yeah,
And the increase in the refinery, I mean,
Okay.
like for me, for example, I mean, I think I'm getting about 24, 25,000 a day tier 8, and my components are like 250,000 to 80, 90,000, 140 million. Do you know what I mean? They're expensive. They are expensive, the parts, and I mean, it is nice that the material usage on them is relatively low. It is relatively low in terms of materials for it. I think you just go back to what you were saying, Puts. I mean, at the end of the day, you're now on Ops 52. Take your protector out, see if you can kill 55s, 56s with it, because you're going to have the range, because the protector's range is decent. So go try and see if you can kill 45s, 55s, 56s with it. Do you know what I mean? Once it gets the range to be able to do that. And make that decision on the 56, because obviously you're the trailblazers for this now. You're the ones that are approaching that sort of an ops level to make that decision on whether 56 ships are actually skippable. Because I mean, people were saying to get it for the cube and upgrade your cube. The cube is a paperweight until G6, useless until G6. I'm going to put that out there and say there's no point even really caring about it. Try and keep it up with your ops level for whatever you need to be. But until it gets to G6, it's never going to become a stalwart in your ship hangar.
Well, definitely this conversation has made me, I'm definitely going to have to think about it.
And try
but
it.
I have a couple of weeks, yeah, definitely.
Try
Will
it.
do.
You've got nothing to lose by doing it. I mean, no reason to wait to take it up, I don't believe. So just do it and see where it takes you. If it's either going to be strong enough or it isn't, and if it isn't, at least you know you need to then go another route. Route two. God, it's all American.
Jesus Christ, Route 66.
Jesus.
To be honest with you, I was hoarding and waiting for the inevitable in between arc, like ship,
Yeah.
those events that they've been doing now with the specialty ships, like spend
Junkyard
on several
upgrade events, I like to call them, where it's just using loads of different random materials to score points.
There you go. Yeah, I was waiting for one of those, but yeah, within a week or two, I will have tested it definitely,
and be able to play with it. No, nice. And finally, me, obviously, I'm currently Ops 65. And the bottleneck, I think anybody in G6 will tell you, somebody that's not a heavy spender, or people that even are heavy spenders, the bottleneck up here is speed ups. Just for a bit of clarity, obviously, all the way up to your up to Ops 60 for 1 day's worth of speed up is 300 Latinum. Now, the days have reduced a lot. If I tell you that, like, my next refinery building to take it from 63 to 64 is only 7 days, and bearing in mind that probably to take that from 59 to 60 would have been 150, 180 days, which sounds like it's a massive reduction. My daily speed up amount is 1.5 million. It cost me 1.5 million Latinum per day of speed up. So to speed up for a week is going to be what, 7.5, 9, 10.5 million to do a week's worth of speed ups. It's a hell of a lot of Latinum, and it's not even like the packs. If for people that spend are getting absolutely loads, my treasury, which is ballpark 50% value, pays about 22 million, which is realistically what, 20 days worth of speed ups, 25 days worth of speed up. It's not much. It's not much in the slightest. The bottleneck in G6 is absolutely speed ups.
There's that chat that we're both in, where we got one of the guys that's going 69 to 70, and I know it was slightly tongue in cheek, but he was saying, "Look, can you bring out a G6 Volt Latinum?"
I know, yeah, with a lot in it, with like 200 million Latinum in it, because he wants to speed up his building and he's run out of Latinum. Yeah. And obviously, Latinum for ships as well. I mean, ship costs. I mean, for me to get a 66 ship, it's 3.2 million credits. 3.2 or 4.2 million credits. It's something outrageous. No, I think it's 4.2. 4.2 million credits without the new favor in the Terran store. And I've managed to save up for my ship about 3.2. So I need about 1 million. So realistically, it's going to take like 50 million Latinum to do. But that's my bottleneck. I think that was good. Obviously, loads of different bottlenecks as you start to progress through. And I think we've just sort of highlighted a few there, how you can maybe look to overcome them, and maybe just some food for thought on different bits and pieces. I think we've done that one to death now. I think we're going to move on to our next section of the pod. We are going to move on to one of our favourites. Let's do Freedom and Reason. freedom and reason. Right, okay. The topic this time is something that I don't really fully get, if I'm being 100% honest. And we're going to be talking about a very specific holiday, which is very, very huge at one side, and the other side look at it and say, what on earth are you doing having a pre-Christmas? What are you doing? Yes, we're going to be talking about Thanksgiving, Black Friday, where all that came about. What the hell is that all about? Candy, what the hell is Thanksgiving?
Goes back to early colonial times where when the Pilgrims kind of came together had like it's meant to hallmark the end of the harvest season and to give thanks for like everything that was their bounty for the harvest season, and to share it with everyone around them.
Ah, right, okay. So it was like a celebration of the end of the harvest.
That is not how I learned it in grade school.
Oh, we've got a bit of controversy.
Fight.
Go on, Putz. Take it away.
Well, I mean, I distinctly remember being in the Thanksgiving, grade school play, and it was the Pilgrims landed and they had a bad time of it and their crops failed and blah 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 blah. And if it wasn't for the Indians coming and bringing them food, they would have never made it through the winter. And it was the Indians that saved the Pilgrims, and they broke bread together, and you know the Native Americans brought the corn and the potatoes and the sweet potatoes and the turkey, and the Pilgrims brought nothing pretty much.
I was going to
That's how
say, you know what they brought? They brought smallpox laid in blankets and like
smallpox.
killed off all the Native Americans.
No, that is how that was the play I was in when I was in like 4th or 5th grade.
That sounds right. That sounds like what I got taught.
I think that Thanksgiving was coined the following year when they actually had a good year. That one before, they don't talk about that anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. It wasn't good all around, really.
Jesus. Right? I mean, we don't get it. Stewie, what did you think Thanksgiving was? I thought it was a greed thing.
No, I thought it was because we've got our harvest over here, don't we?
We have Harvest Festival, don't we, where kids take a tin of beans to school.
And to be honest, for a while, I
hold on, stop.
Go on.
You have a harvest festival that the tradition is kids bring a can of beans to school.
You guys have great culture.
Luke's probably oversimplifying it. What we used to do at school is kids used to bring in food, spare food, anything they used to have like was spare, and of course tins of beans would be brought in, and then what they would end up doing is distributing it out to some charities and stuff like that. And it all came back even from, I think it was pagan times, wasn't it, where people would come together with all their bits and share it amongst everyone. So I think the sentiment's the same, okay. But to be honest, for a lot of the time, I actually didn't really care what Thanksgiving was, because it was something that really didn't happen over here, and I didn't get a day off work for it, so why should I care?
No, exactly. It was like all the extra Scottish bank holidays when you see them pop up in your calendar and it says Scotland only. You just go,
yeah, it's like St. Patrick's Day, you know.
I'll go have a Guinness then. All right, I'll partake. I'll celebrate the patron saint of Guinness. I'll do that. Don't mind that. No, not too bad. I think we've got the opportunity to get a really unique perspective here. KKC, obviously, you've come from the States, you've seen the light, you've crossed the pond, you've come over here. How strange was it to go from having this huge Thanksgiving, I'm going to call it a ceremony, because that's all I can call it, because they make such a big deal out of it, to coming over here where it's a day in November/December?
It was definitely a bit of a culture shock, because in the States, all the kids are doing little hands, we take into turkeys, and everyone gets hyped up. My whole family come around, we do the big feast, which my mom likes to say is a lot like Christmas English lunch, like English Christmas lunch, because she's English, and we do the turkey, get all the sides, and she's so that was a bit of home for her. But my dad is born on November 25th, and so sometimes Thanksgiving is on November 25th. And he really resents Thanksgiving for ruining his birthday dinners growing up because he doesn't like turkey or potatoes and some of the rest of it. He'd much rather have like hot dogs and mac and cheese. So honestly, when we moved over, he was thrilled because he didn't have to bother. And if we did want to do something, we went to the Toby Carvery and we got the Carvery.
Love Toby Carvery.
So we could all get whatever we wanted.
Absolutely
I
love
was
it.
going to ask if you still do it now. I mean, now that you're over here, do you still celebrate Thanksgiving when it happens, or do you not really bother anymore?
We haven't even gone to the Carvery in a while. My mom honestly has already decorated for Christmas. She's much more excited for Christmas. So
There you go.
it's Dad's birthday and then Christmas. Thanksgiving is a bit left behind now.
I mean, it's like I said, it's strange to me, and I think I just want to pick up on something that you've just said there. So over there, Silvers, do you have a Christmas dinner? Do you know what I mean? Do you have because we have turkey, all the trimmings, stuffing, potatoes, vegetables, gravy, brown gravy, proper gravy. We have all that sort of stuff. Do you still have that at Christmas time as well?
Yes.
Oh, okay. 'Cause I thought the way KKC was saying was that like they have theirs early.
It's not a replacement. No, it's
No,
not.
it's not a full replacement, but you usually do like turkey at Thanksgiving, and then I
It's
think we
usually
have
a Christmas ham.
usually at Christmas. Like
Yeah.
it's a bit more you can have what you want. It's not like definitely having another turkey.
A Christmas ham.
Yeah, typically.
Yeah, we have
A
those
nice
here as
spiral
well.
cut bone-in ham. Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah.
I do like
Ham is great.
I do like a ham or a nice gammon joint or something like that. Do you know what gammon is? Do you have gammon?
No idea.
They call that bacon, remember?
Yeah, oh, of course they do. Yeah, because they can't quite get it right.
Really
Can they?
thick cut bacon. Yeah.
Yeah, really, really thick cut bacon. We call that gammon. No, we would do that, and I just find it. I suppose because it's something that we're just not exposed to in the slightest. Does the date actually? So you said the date sometimes falls. So does the date move? So what's yeah?
It's the last Thursday in November.
Yeah.
Right. So the last.
So it's tomorrow.
Oh, right. Okay. So the 28th. So the
Yes,
so the
this year.
28th. Ah, right. And last Thursday, November. Is that because all the harvests finished? Because I mean, our harvest time, Stewie, over here, it's normally finished by God, what? Or September, early September.
It's because of a national law that was passed in the 50s that christened it as the national holiday for last Thursday of November.
Now, see, I always thought it was the 4th Thursday in November.
That might be what it is.
That's a good point.
Because there's a possibility.
Does that change?
Yeah, you can't have Thanksgiving can't be either the 29th or the 29th or 30th of November.
Yeah, you'd be right.
Why?
Because just mathematically, I do believe it is the 4th Thursday in November is how they define Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I said, I think there was a law in the 50s that passed it as a federal holiday.
1941, apparently.
There you go.
And then since 1957, it's been celebrated. Oh, in Canada on the second Monday in October.
Yeah, we don't care about Canada. Move on.
No, they always confuse us because like Thanksgiving. It's like, that's not happening. Yeah, what are you talking about?
I'm funny. You don't need to write having a turkey into law. I think you've taken it too far. I don't think that needs putting into law.
Here's what's hilarious. We actually pardoned 2 turkeys from Thanksgiving meal.
I beg your pardon.
The president gets to be like, I'm saving this turkey.
It's a legit ceremony that the president does. They pardon 2 turkeys.
When you say pardon, you mean they kill them, or you mean that they don't kill them?
Pardon means that they are innocent, that they have been declared to be innocent.
No.
So in this case, it means that they're not going to be killed.
I'm not having this crap. You're telling me that the so-called leader of the free world spends some of his time once a year telling some turkeys, "You're all right. You're safe."
I do believe he did it today. I do believe he did it today.
It was last week.
Is that?
It was last week.
Is that
okay?
Is that because he forgot what week it was?
It might have been. But no, it is seriously a ceremony where it's normally held somewhere in the White House, probably the Rose Garden, and they pardon a turkey. The original one, I I don't remember which president started it, but the folklore is they brought in 2 turkeys, and the press secretary had to figure out which one was more photogenic for the press,
I'm
press
out.
op.
I'm out. It's
Yeah,
a turkey.
I know, right?
I'm out.
And that at some point in time, it got out that the one that was less photogenic went back to the farm and was sold to be a Thanksgiving turkey. So then they started pardoning both, and then they go to a petting zoo.
You saying Biden did this, did he?
He did. Yep.
He's
He probably thought he was addressing his own cabinet then.
A couple days ago.
That was quite funny. So traditionally, then obviously I think America's got a very, very different culture in terms of where you all work, and even just talking to the people where you're at, a lot of you don't live near your families. Is it still a thing as you get older that you all migrate home for Thanksgiving? Is it that big a thing that you will all make special trips? And how long is the holiday? Do you just get the one day off? Do you just get the Thanksgiving day off, or do you get like day off, day before, day after? Do you know what I mean? How long's that holiday?
From a federal point of view, it's just the day, but most companies will give you a couple of days. So like my company has Thursday and Friday off.
Oh, that's quite good because obviously that rolls into a weekend, doesn't it? And then, but if it was on like a Tuesday, would they tend to give you Tuesday, Wednesday, or would they give you Monday, Tuesday to make it a long weekend?
It's always Thursday.
It's
always
of course, it's always
not
Thursday.
a question about.
Correct. You passed the test. Congratulations. I threw that test question in there and you did it. You absolutely bossed it. Well done. I get it.
Days of the week can be so complicated, can't they, Lou?
Moving holidays are not easy.
As far as schools go, most schools get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. And then if you are in a rural area in the northern reaches, Midwest, upper Northwest, you will also get Monday off because in most places, in most states, deer season starts on Monday.
Yeah, hunting season.
Okay. So are you all going home?
I'm not.
Yes.
You're not, Silvers?
Nope.
You're not. So you going back to your roots?
Yeah, I normally go and see the parents. We got to do the wife's Thanksgiving, and then we do my family's Thanksgiving. But yeah, most colleges, especially dorm, 4-year, you're going to go and stay there. There's lots of provisions for you get 5-6 days off to go home and come back.
Wow. That's basically like a second Christmas to us, isn't it, Stewie?
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what we would have over here for Christmas. A lot of people.
I was going to say, do you guys all then do it all again in like 3.5, 4 weeks time and travel back over? I mean, if you're visiting your families, you're going to visit them again the following month and do another holiday and eat loads of food and stuff.
Yep. And most schools have off at least the week before Christmas, the week in between Christmas and New Year's, and depending on how New Year's and Christmas falls, they may have like a half a week or whatever after New Year's. So like, when I say that I'm done, I have 8 days left of work until I'm done. From there, I won't go back to school. I won't go back to work for 33 days.
Slacker.
Yeah, it's
wow.
Well, that's how the secondary education, the colleges and universities work. It's like my finals are done on December 12th, and I don't come back to school until like mid-January.
Wow. Oh, mid-January.
January 17th.
Oh, wow. That is a hell of a break, isn't it?
Or 21st, I think. January 21st.
Okay, interesting. So one final thing, because this has been very, very Yank heavy, because obviously you're talking about Thanksgiving and all that sort of stuff. What Black Friday? Talk to us about Black Friday, because that always falls somewhere near as well.
Black Friday is the day after Thanksgiving, and it's called Black Friday because it's when the stores, department stores mostly, have all kinds of sales, and they get all kinds of shoppers to come in and buy stuff, and their profit margin goes in the black, which means that they're actually making a profit. And in some cases, it's for the first time of the year. So in other parts of the year, they may be in the red the entire year, which means that they're losing money because they have to pay to keep the building up, and they have to pay their employees, and they have to pay to have stock, and they're not making enough from having customers buy products. But at Black Friday, when they're offering deals, which are a lot of times from the manufacturer, they can make enough money to put them in profit for the year.
Oh God, that makes so much sense as to why it's called that. Because I mean, I think Black Friday is something that was adopted by the UK. I might be getting this grossly wrong here. I reckon in the last 10 years, I reckon it's not much more than that. I'd never even heard of
Not
it.
even that, I don't think.
I
Yeah,
don't.
I've
do you
never
know,
even heard of it before.
Maybe not. I mean, maybe even 5 years or so we've bothered about Black Friday, and the first place I ever saw it, I think, was Amazon. It's obviously been a US company,
Yeah.
obviously Black Friday deals, and then it was this crazy thing where TVs were really cheap in Asda, and that's our Walmart, by the way. And people just used to go and kill each other for a TV.
For TV,
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
fights,
exactly.
fights in the aisles.
Yeah.
That's how it
I
works.
have a question. I have a question for the panel.
Sure.
Who here on the panel has worked in retail in the United States?
I have.
For
Okay,
retail store, no.
So Silvis will understand. I worked in at least I counted it up 5 different stores in malls that were in malls, plus 2 different department stores. And let me tell you, I've worked at a specialty shop where we sold like one thing, and between the Friday after Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve, we would do 60 to 80% of our yearly business.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've worked in department stores where, it kind of is just another day, but I have been in a Best Buy and seen people punch each other out for a TV.
God.
And a lot of department stores will actually hire extra help for the November, December, January, like they call it the holiday season.
Yeah.
They bring in seasonal workers
Yeah, we do
to
that.
just work for a couple of months because they need the extra hands during that time.
We do that, and same with Santas. You know what I mean, to give out presents and stuff. Joking. Yeah. So yeah, no, absolutely. Black Friday, Thanksgiving. Really quick. Round the Yanks. What's more important? What do you think's the bigger celebrated festival, Christmas or Thanksgiving? Silvis.
I would say it's probably Christmas, but that also depends on religion as well. Thanksgiving isn't a big religious thing, whereas Christmas more is.
Yeah. Get that.
So it kind of depends, but I feel like Christmas wins that one, but not by a lot.
Candy, Christmas or Thanksgiving?
Christmas definitely, but like from a family standpoint, but from a retail standpoint, Thanksgiving really kind of kicks everything off.
Putz.
I think it really depends on your family. But yeah, it's Christmas by a landslide.
KKC.
Yeah, definitely. Christmas would be like a multi-day thing, whereas Thanksgiving was like we all met up on the day.
Got you.
Christmas is definitely the big one.
Are you happy that you don't have to do 2 big dinners in a month, or do you really miss Thanksgiving?
I do like Thanksgiving. I don't think my mother misses cooking it, and I'm not sure I would enjoy helping her try and make the big family meal anymore. Not that we have as much family over here, so it would be smaller anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So over there, it was like 20 plus people. Like it was a full feast. This here would be like we'd be under 10. It wouldn't be so bad.
No, absolutely not. Okay, very, very interesting. Really good topic. Really like that one. And we are now going to move on to, we're going to go back into the stars and we're going to talk about Star Trek. I'm really looking forward to this one. So the topic today is if you had to pick dinner guests to take to your captain's quarters, to your captain's own mess hall to have a dinner with, who would you bring to your table? Who would you bring to your table? Who would you invite as the captain of the ship? Who would be your dinner guests from the show? Silvis, let's start with you. Talk us around your table and give us why you've gone for that sort of dynamic.
So yeah, so we talked about doing three characters. So the 3 that I chose were Pike, Guinan, and Garrick. And there's a reason for each of them. Pike would be the S&W version. He would be our cook. You can see in Stranger Worlds how he does this quite often, where he will bring in his senior officers and he'll cook for them, and it's a great meal. It's all cooked homemade.
Okay.
And Cisco does this too. So there are other examples. But I think Pike is also a great storyteller, and that's what I'm counting on for Guinan and Garrick. They're all telling stories. Garrick brings a little bit of mystery into the dynamic as well. So I think it would be really interesting to be at that table and hear stories from different backgrounds. Guinan's been around for hundreds of years and on dozens of different planets and starships, and it would be interesting to hear what they have to say.
I think that's a super interesting dynamic. I really like that. I think I would want Cisco to cook. I think I agree. I think I would want Cisco to cook, but I think who else you pick with Garrick, you just never quite know what he's going to say. You never know what stories he's going to come out with. And I bet you, after a few drinks, I bet Garrick would spill some really good secrets as well. Do you know what I mean? When he's get a little bit tipsy, a little bit merry on the old. Oh, what's the Cardassian drink? I should know this. Canar. After a few bottles of Canar, I bet you he would spill some really interesting secret. No, I think that's a really good shout. And I love the idea that you've put a chef in there as well, maybe to do a little bit of the cooking. Quite like that. I quite like that. Yeah, good.
I mean, I like to cook myself, but why not have somebody else do it?
Well, exactly. And Pike's just an all-round charmer, isn't he? Yeah, I mean, you just know he can hold a room. He can hold a room, can't he? And that's the sort of person that you want. Sort of person that you want as a dinner guest. Totally agree. Stewie, who have you got around your table? Is Rolaren one of them? Your little secret crush?
I absolutely hate Silvus at the moment because he took two of mine.
He took one of mine. He took one of mine.
He took Guinan and Garrick.
Garrick, I've got Garrick on my list.
Yeah, Garrick, and for me, the best one would be right at the end of the night, turning around to Garrick and saying, "So, Garrick, of all of those stories, which ones were true?"
Yeah, and he got
all of them.
Get all of them. What, including the lies?
Especially the lies.
Well done. And that would be the perfect end for the evening. Now, my third one is a really, really risky choice. Okay, like super risky, because I actually wanted to go with the Traveller.
Oh.
But there's a 50-50 chance that I might end up with Wesley.
Gotta be careful.
And I'd spend the whole night telling him to shut up.
Yeah, shut up, Wesley.
Okay. No, but the Traveller, I mean, you talk about Guinan and Garrick being a storyteller. I mean, what has that guy seen?
Yeah, totally agree. And he's adding it from a totally different dimension as well.
Totally different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I think that'd be so good. But I think you go down the same sort of realms as Garrick. I mean, I don't know. I think if anybody hasn't got Garrick on the list as options from it, I mean, I'd struggle to find anybody I think that would replace him as probably my number one guest.
He's amazing. He really is.
Yeah. First name on my sheet. But no, I think that'd be a really good idea. I think the Traveller would put a really good spin on conversation where he goes, well, this works like this. And he goes,
well, actually.
Actually, no. Don't quite work like that. No, really good list. KKC, what you got for us?
All right. I also had Cisco because I was thinking I could really use some Creole food. Don't get enough of it. That would be a lot of fun. And then I had Chief O'Brien and Scotty because apparently I wanted to get drunk, drink us under the table.
Get drunk and fix things.
I'm not a huge fan of like whiskey or scotch, and I was thinking that they might try and convince me, and that could be a lot of fun.
Oh, God, yeah, that would be fun.
And since we kind of already brought up Cisco, I had like Phlox because I feel like he'd be just like also really fun and just enjoying and having a great time.
Totally agree. I totally get why anybody would pick Cisco. I mean, Chief O'Brien, I mean, quite frankly, he is one of the coolest dudes ever, isn't he? Do you know what I mean, he is genuinely cool. I mean, as far as nerds go, he's like the least nerdy, coolest guy in Star Trek, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He just gets on with stuff, doesn't he?
Well, he literally brought up rolled up sleeves to Star Trek, didn't he?
Do you know what I mean? If you wanted a legacy, I rolled up my sleeves in Star Trek. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing better, is there? There's absolutely nothing better than that. Absolutely nothing better. No, that would be amazing. I think that would be really cool. And obviously, would they all get on? Yeah, they probably would, wouldn't they? I mean, I'm thinking there could have been a fight in Silverses, but I can see Cisco punching Garrick. So
Well, I wasn't. I didn't have Cisco.
I thought you said Cisco.
No, I got Pike.
Pike could definitely punch Garrick. Yeah, he definitely punch Garrick.
I was expecting some fights between Guinan and Garrick.
I think there's only one winner there.
That's what I would have expected.
Only one winner there. I think Guinan would run him under the table. I think Guinan's probably one of the only people who could talk Garrick under a table. I think that would be pretty impressive. I think that'd be cool.
I don't know. He's very good at the old counter talk, isn't he? He's just something about him. He could literally talk himself out of anything, I think.
But could you imagine the verbal sparring between those two? I mean, you saw it between like Q and Guinan, didn't you? The verbal.
It would be great.
It would be so good to watch.
Because I knew that Guinan kind of put Q on his heels too. So like, imagine what she could do to Garrick.
Yeah, absolutely.
And hence the Traveller sitting there going, well, actually, you're both wrong.
Right, mine are really strange. Mine are really, really strange. So I went for Garrick for the same reasons that we've already talked about. I don't know how I could have a dinner guest the way I could choose who I wanted and not have Garrick for his stories and for everything that he was going to say. My next two may need a little bit of explaining. So I want the female changeling. I think she would be really, really interesting to find out because they are a race that didn't really necessarily want to go to war. They wanted to protect their own, and then ended up sort of taking over the Dominion to be able to facilitate that and keep themselves secret. I think because of the age of them and because of how they tried to reproduce by sending out the likes of Odo and all the other changelings and bring them back in, I just think that they have got such a unique ability of shape-shifting and being able to be anything that they want to be. I can't imagine the things that they've done because we've probably only scratched the surface of the races that they've infiltrated and that they've been able to manipulate to try and get their own sort of stuff out of. I bet she has got some cracking stories to be able to tell the female changeling. I think she would be absolutely awesome as the leader of that group. And my third one was Q. And Q is a similar sort of region as the Traveller. I don't understand. There's nobody that I think that will be able to offer as unique a perspective on things and who's had the experiences that Q's had. I know the Traveller has. I know that's pretty cool. But Q, literally being omnipotent, can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. Go back to the start of the universe, the end of the universe, anywhere in between. There is nothing that he won't have a take on. And quite frankly, I think his general wit and that sort of stuff. I just think he'd be a great dinner guest.
There is a problem with that though, and we all know what it's like when you've got groups of friends and stuff like that. There's people that can be entertaining and all of this, but if you've got a dinner going on, you've got guests at dinner, you've got to maintain that sort of like level balance. And I think that Q could just be just too much, a bit too chaotic. It would take over almost, and it would be all about Q.
A bit lacking in decorum.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would just because Q is what or who he is. It would just end up being about Q, and if it's a guest, the whole dinner party thing and all that. That's not the sort of thing you want, is it? You want more balanced interchange between everyone, and that wouldn't happen with Q there, I don't think.
Probably not, but I do like the fact that everybody else's ideas have got really rave reviews, and then I've been told that mine's crap. I mean, that's pretty standard, really, isn't it? I quite like that.
That's how you know you chose bad topics.
Well, if we're going to pick, you could have had the same thing by bringing Odo instead of the ancient one from the Changeling. You'd have known virtually the same amount because they all lived in a pool together.
They did, but she actually physically lived it. Odo only knows what he got through by proxy, basically, literal proxy. You know what I mean? He was inside the. I shouldn't say that phrasing. I'm going to say he was inside the female changeling, but that sounds terrible, doesn't it?
Well, he went into the pool for a bit. Remember when he visited the planet? He did. He did see what it was like. So.
And he learned everything in them 30 seconds that he was in there, didn't he?
Basically,
yeah, pretty impressive. Right,
through the link.
After my garbage, Candy, redeem the podcast. Carry on. Give us some good guests.
Yeah, please.
My guess would kind of be almost like a leadership type roundtable where I would have Gabriel Lorca, I'd have Captain Liam Shaw, and also Captain Jonathan Archer, all at my table.
You won bloody Enterprise.
Oh, only one of them's Enterprise. So
Tim sure isn't.
But getting Gabriel Lorca's kind of perspective on when he changed places with his mirror universe double and sent him into the beyond to be killed off in the mirror universe, taking his place and climbing the ranks to become a captain of the Discovery, and just the air and the pomp and circumstance that he had about himself when they first introduced him in season 1 of Discovery, just kind of wanting to learn how he obtained his leadership style to get to that point in our side of the universe version of Discovery. Getting Captain Shaw's also getting his perspective on how he went from being a ship mechanic to being a captain of a starship. Getting his perspective on just like what he had to all his trials and tribulations of clawing up the ranks to get to where he was at that point, but also the level of sarcasm and condescension that he has, like just like it would be able to kind of like create a weird, potentially a weird or a uncomfortable style of dialogue between the three to kind of really spur up a really interesting conversation of all three leadership styles.
Yeah, because they're all very yin and yang, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? You've got Archer, who's figuring out how it all works because it's never been done before. You've got Lorca, who's trained in it all. Obviously, he's been to the mirror, he's come back, and again, he knows what he's doing. He's supposed to be there. And then you've got the Rogue. Do you know what I mean? You've got total yin and yang there, aren't you, between different styles and patterns and stuff. And yeah, I think that would really work. I think that would be so cool.
Yeah, then like Captain Archer.
Discord memes as well as the Shaw nope.
No.
But then like finally getting Captain Archer's take. I mean, he was like he kind of came into it where he had a bit of a privilege. He had privilege when he came into kind of like the very early years of Starfleet, where his dad was the inventor and
the Warp 5
evolutionist behind the Warp 5 engine. So being able to get put out into space to test his own metal, kind of step outside of his dad's shadow, and then perpetually throughout the series get kicked back and having to kind of prove his own worth in the galaxy to kind of like not be like essentially outgrow his privilege and be able to grow into the leader that he became and one of the founding members or one of the cornerstones of the beginnings of the Federation.
Absolutely. Great choices, absolutely great choices. And I thought I never even thought about Archer. I never even thought about Archer. And I think Archer would be a really, really good guest to have. Stewie, just put the GIF in our chat. Nope. No, really like it. And finally, last but not least, Puts. Tell us about your dinner guests.
Okay, so first I have to ask all of you guys that chose Cisco, why are you choosing a second-rate chef? You're not even choosing the best Cisco.
Ooh.
Daddy Cisco.
Who said he would leave the restaurant?
Choosing Daddy Cisco. If you want the best, you better be choosing the dad. But I digress. Okay, now, you guys all had really good, and I think
apart from
they
mine.
were all great, right? I went a couple of different ways, and I have some honorable mentions, but I'm going to go with Lieutenant Uhura, played by Nichelle Nichols. I'm going to go with Waxana Troy, played by Nigel Barrett.
That's Stewie's secret fetish. That's Stewie's favorite.
I understand. Right. I'm going to go with Captain Janeway, played by Kate Mulgrew. Okay. And I'm going to go with Tilly, played by Mary, and I can't remember her last name right now.
Silvers, do we allow 4?
Yeah, well, no, here's the thing. I'm going to cook for them. I'm not going to eat. I'm going to cook for them. Yes, I'm inviting, and that would assume that I would be eating with them, but I'm not going to eat with them. I'm going to cook for those 4, and I will allow them to eat at my table.
And you're just going to record it for later for future viewing.
Exactly, because what I'm hoping for is for them to just have a great conversation, and then just glimpses, or maybe even a full out break of the fourth wall, and they become their actual actor selves, and they talk about their experiences of being who they were and the character they played, and trials and tribulations and they, just a camaraderie. I would love, and this all stems from, for me, the most impactful panel that I went to, in the only Star Trek convention I've ever been to, which I went in Nashville this past year, was the Woman in Star Trek convention that was led, or panel that was led by Gates McFadden. It was absolutely, hands down, just absolutely amazing. So that's my choice. I would love to just see somehow a glimpse of the fourth wall breaking. That would be interesting.
Super interesting. And you know what? There's some good Thanksgiving / Christmas / holiday dinners in there. I mean, there's some interesting things. I think all of those would have made a good episode as well. I mean, they made a really, really, really good sketch from within an episode. That'd have been great. I was surprised nobody picked anybody from Lower Decks. Who would like a chat? Who would like a chat with Boimler? Yeah, I mean, nobody picked anybody for anything like that, did they?
Probably love to be in my dinner. A few scientists in mine. Or engineers.
I'll
die.
Yeah,
I mean, it'd
die.
It'd be more or less kind of like the crossover episode was with S&W when they'll end up when they end up on the Enterprise back then, in like when they're all in Pike's quarters and Boimler jumps on top of his saddle and he's all Riker. So
Riker, yeah. Oh yeah, no, that was so good. That was so good. But no, some outstanding options there. I think I would like to have been a part of any of those dinner parts, apart from mine, obviously, because mine was awful, according to Stewie. So apart from
crap.
apart from that, that's absolutely.
Yours just could be chaotic.
Yeah, but yeah. Well, to be fair, they probably just beamed everybody out, wouldn't he? Just clicked I don't know if that came through on the mic, but clicked his fingers and everybody'd be gone anyway, wouldn't they? So no, my options were rubbish. But no, marvellous. Thank you so much to absolutely everybody. And remember, guys, that we are available on all major podcast platforms. Please, please, please go and leave us a 6 out of 5 star review. Let us know who you would like at your dinner guest table. Let us know down in the comments. Obviously, leave us a review, and obviously we'll be reading those out in future shows. Please join our Discord. Link to that is in the podcast description down below. And obviously, you can find all the charts that are created expertly by Stewie Doo and all the charts made by Silvus as well. You can find all of those on there, and the tools, the battle log tool, the officer tool, all the wonderful stuff that you need is going to be on there. Check out all of our other channels. You can find myself on Twitch, It's Lube, and you can find Minnie Mabel on there as well. Obviously, Minnie, the Tribble Mother, will be back with us on a future show. And obviously, there's our YouTube channel as well. Send us your feedback, questions, topics, all that sort of stuff for future shows. That will be absolutely amazing. And if you want to go back and listen to any of the shows, please, please, please set the podcast to download into your podcast app, whether you do it on Apple, Spotify, something like that. Follow the show, and every time that we upload a new episode of Brits and Yanks Talk Trek, it will be straight there in your feed. Please go and do that. Check out itslube.com as well. You can go pick up some exclusive merch from there that's expertly created by Candy, and you can go get yourself a t-shirt, grab yourself a hoodie, all those beautiful things. You can do that for us. Thank you so much. And while you are there, you are able to join up to sign up to become a member, help to support the show financially should you wish to do so, and get a shout out on every single podcast, just like I'm going to do now for all of our members. So I'm going to say a huge thank you to Minnie Mabel, Jenny Mack, Deja, Dr. Ryan, Chef Virtual Army, Zek, Texas Guy, Roku, Killer Angel, Grumpy, Bensai, Mata Hadji, and Les. Thank you so much for being a member. If you want to get your name read out on every single podcast, itslube.com, sign up to become a member, and we will do that for you. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you to Silvus, thank you to Stewie, thank you to Candy, thank you to Putz, and thank you so much for stepping in, KKC, and becoming a member of the panel. Thank you so much for tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Have an absolutely wonderful rest of your evening, guys. And remember that absolutely everything is better with Luke. Take care, guys, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye, driver.
Bye-bye, driver.